We're safe too. We're safe too. We're safe too.
Oh, you're recording. Oh, hi, I'm Blue, and welcome back to We're Safe Too. And this is the three of us. Smooch is traveling. I believe she's in Cleveland, or yes, last time we talked, she was back in Cleveland.
She's back in Cleveland? Oh, I thought
Yeah.
she was in Fort Sumter.
She might, I don't know. Last time we talked, she was going and then coming back and then going back.
Yeah.
She has a lot of.
But she should be on her way back.
Yeah,
Yes,
she
today.
gets back tonight, which
Whoop, whoop.
is Sunday night when we're recording. But anytime if you do not see one of us, we are traveling. Otherwise, if we're in town, we are here, we're recording for you. So as we go into the episode, we're going to start a new thing. I like to call it Blue's Clues. If it changes, it changes. It's okay. But a clue is just like a little piece of the whole picture. So we want you guys to get to know us without us having to talk about ourselves for a long period of time. And we are only going to have 90 seconds each to answer my question, which is going to be hilarious because we like to talk.
Right.
So-
as you see.
Today's question for you, well, I'm going to answer too, but it's what are your top 3 pet peeves, and you only get to explain one of them. So since you guys get to think about that, because I already knew I was going to ask you guys this, I'll go first. So I'm going to start my timer, because I'm not trying to cheat. I'm not a cheater. For all you guys that think I'm a cheater, friends, I'm not a cheater. I just like to win.
Go ahead.
But I'm going to start. Ready? And make sure that she's going to edit and put it on the screen so you can see my time too. Ready, set, go. So my top 3 pet peeves is 1, I do not like to be cold. 2, I do not like to have my intelligence disrespected. And 3, I forgot what I was going to say my third one was. I don't, oh my gosh, I had them. I guess that was
90
right.
seconds, come on.
No, I got time. Don't you? I get 90 seconds or less. Don't disrespect my 90 seconds.
You don't like your time disrespected.
I don't like my time. That's not on my top 3 though.
Okay, we'll find the other one.
My last one is, I don't know.
Bless you. Bless you.
I guess
Thank you.
I'm gonna go with. Okay, I guess I'll go with I don't like my time disrespected. But the only one I'm gonna explain is I don't like extreme weathers. Like I don't like being cold. And if I'm like super duper cold, I'm like ready to fight.
Yes.
So all my friends know if they ever get a phone call like, hey, they're just gonna fight, their number one question,
Is it hot or is it cold?
that's the only way, I'm out here squabbling or something, because I something within me boils up when it's extremely cold outside. I hate shivering, so that's just not for me. But I think my time, it's up, I made it. That's awesome. Okay, Suki, you can go.
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
I
Asian
like how
version.
it, served over me.
You ready? Set, go.
All right. 3 pet peeves. As of right now, I can't really tell you guys. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. So,
Really?
yeah, I really don't. Not off the top of my head. Because sometimes, as a woman, we're on our cycle and just anything can annoy me. Other times, I'm just like, I don't know. So,
Oh, when people talk down about God. That's one that usually gets you pretty.
that just comes from ignorance.
What is
Maybe ignorance. I don't like ignorant people or people who say stuff and then do vice versa. Or, yeah. I don't know, honestly. So, you guys will have to stay tuned and see, because If you have been paying attention, my face tells everything. I'm very expressive in my face, and I cannot hide it. When I was in theater, my theater teacher said, "Oh, you give good face." So that means everything is here, and out of 30 years of my life, I've still not been able to hide it. So you'll see when I'm irritated, but yeah, that's me.
Okay. You have like 13 seconds to spare. That's a good job. Ready, Aisha?
No.
Set, go.
For my 3 pet peeves, number 1, I don't like when people are inconsiderate. Being inconsiderate is I'm working on it. I'm doing better at not allowing it to get me so quickly in my flesh. But like, if that's one, then the second one, I don't like when people assume, like based off of just. Okay, so when people see my name, they automatically. I like when people assume that I'm gonna be ghetto. That's 2. 3.
When people touch your stuff or move your stuff.
That's a pet peeve of mine too.
I think that's all of our pet peeves.
I don't like when people touch and move my things. Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to the name one though, because we could discuss that one later because all of us have that one. But with my name, my name is Aisha, and you all saw how to spell it in the intro.
Spell it again.
A''SHIA. Don't play me. But wait, what did she say? Don't do me. Shout out to you, Miss Didi. But with that, people assume that I'm gonna be ghetto, and so when they meet me, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were gonna be so," and I'm like, "So what? All you knew was my name." And when I came into school, I think my 9th grade year, I walked in, and the man walked up, and he was like, "LaQuanda?" I was like, "No," and he was like,
Time.
But y'all interrupted me, so it
No,
time.
And as we move on, that was funny, but really quick when you said don't do me though. Dama was like, she was like,
She said it over the
don't do me,
pulpit.
Dama.
She said it over the pulpit.
I was cracking up.
She
I was
said
like,
she said when she talked about it for offering, she was saying how like she was saying how that's what I was explaining. So she was saying that the definitions for deceive, one of the definitions for deceive is do. And she said when you try to trick someone, like the younger generation will say, "Don't do me." She said they say, "Don't do me, Dama." She said they say real good. All I heard was her laughter from 3 seats behind me.
That's what I'd be like, don't do me, Dama.
I know that's where it came from. That's why it was funny.
Okay,
But yes.
so as we transition to, are you gonna put like a sound?
Yes, no, I'm gonna put a swipe. So we all should swipe at the same time. Maybe 1, 2, 3. Silky.
We're swiping
With
to
the
her.
hand.
Go ahead,
Ready?
Sil.
1, 2, 3. Swipe.
But we're swiping to her. Why does she have to swipe?
No, because it's gonna turn. That's gonna be the transition. I'll put right there.
Go ahead, Sil.
And we're still in the editing process. We're getting a hold of it.
We're doing way better.
All right, so this week on God Speaks, in my word time, I'm in Esther, in the book of Esther, and we went to a women's conference like some weeks ago.
Yep.
The
And
second week of August.
it was about time for such a time as this. And so everything now that I've been reading has to deal with time. And a lot of times we, in the waiting process, we get confuzzled and confuzzled.
Okay.
You just get really agitated and irritated in the wait. And a lot of time we think that God has changed his mind, but when the Lord speaks, his word does not return into him void. And so we tend to, in a sense, almost lose hope and faith when we're in the waiting process. And
That's true.
there is nothing that he says that can come back to him without doing what it said. And so everything has to deal with time, and his time is different than our time. And so just even in life, as you know, now we're applying the word, because you know, Esther, she did what her mentor Mordecai basically said to her, like, I'm doing what you're saying. And you know, at one and sometimes in a point we do get in our life, we get a little haughty. We're like, man, everything's going so good, so this should just be smooth sailing. But then when the decree of King Xerxes, when the decree went out, because Haman, he was being a hater, a mad hater. He was being a hater because Mordecai, he was like, every time he passed Mordecai, he was like, oh, you still are not scared? Oh, let me go run this to the king because I'm next. I'm like next up. And so Mordecai went to Esther like, girl, I don't know who you thought you was, but you've been being obedient. Now all of a sudden you think you're not a part. Like, you're still a Hebrew, girl. Get that right together. And he was like, how do you know that you weren't made queen for such a time as this? And so a lot of times we're always wondering, like, why am I still in this waiting spot? Like, why? But how do you know that you're not being molded and shaped for such a time as this, when God wants to excel you into the next position? Because usually the things, when they're given to us prematurely, they're wasted. And so just in my general walk right now with the Lord, I'm like, man, I'm at a halt. Like, even though with, nursing school or just me moving forward in general, I'm like, oh man, why isn't this happening? But then it's like, well, Silky, certain parts of your life you're not mature in, so how can I give you this? Because I feel as soon as I give it to you, then where am I? And so I have to remember God is first in everything. And so
I was just gonna say, because Pastor Ron and Sheila always say delay does not mean denial. So God's perfect timing is God's perfect timing. It's not my timing. It's not what the world thinks the time is supposed to be, because they always try to trick us as women into thinking this. I know a biological clock is a biological clock, but God's clock is a whole lot different.
whole lot.
They got women who are 50 just getting married and actually still having kids.
52, I seen a patient. I work at an OBGYN. Girl, I was like, oh my God, she's about to be pregnant. She want to go meet the pediatrician. 52. So yeah.
So that was just my whole thing, pulling from what you were saying. I cannot think of how they said it, because I don't know if it's something you're not prepared for, you will abuse it. I don't know.
Oh, if you don't understand the purpose of a thing, abuse is inevitable.
That's
what I was thinking as you were talking.
Yeah. So that was awesome.
Yay.
You don't have any inklings that you want to share while you're in the waiting process yourself?
Ooh, and a week. Right now, it's understanding that the wait is necessary. I think a lot of times we want to be there right now. And I don't think it has to do, a lot of times people try to attribute that, like last episode, if you were watching, to millennials. Like, they try to say, like, we're the microwave generation. But at the end of the day, like, every generation wants things to be faster, better, sooner. And so for me, it's like, when I first got saved, I was like, all right, Lord, I'm saved. Where is he at? And that was like month one. Where's my husband? I'm saved. But the person I am now is completely different. Thank you, Lord, from the person I was then. And so even in this process now, I'm starting to learn more about myself and starting to see that the person I thought I was really isn't who I am. And the person that I was really truly thinking that I was, like, in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, I got this, but then, like, I don't know, even because in my mind, I had grown in my self-confidence, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty, I'm gorgeous, I'm this, I'm that. But then that little girl still on the inside is like, and I realized that transferred over to more part, and that's what, even this morning in my revelation, as Dr. Poole was talking about, your words framing your world, and what we're trying to fit God's 8x10 picture into my 3x5 frame. So if I try to do that, I'm cutting out a lot of what God has for me. And in that, many people, and it was funny because as I was standing there, the person who's been trying to speak into my life a lot was standing right next to me.
It wasn't me.
It was you.
Oh, like at the altar?
Yes.
Oh.
And as she was standing there, it was like all these things that I've been saying no to. I've been saying no because I think I'm not good enough to do it.
I tried to tell them I do my best to pull greatness out of my friends, and they won't let me.
I mean, but the reason I didn't want the greatness to be pulled out was because I didn't think I was good enough to do it. In my mind, I'm not that good. I'm not that great. And granted, we're not. But in my mind, the God in me isn't great enough to do that. And so I was literally trying to fit all that because someone else, the other pastor from Dr. Sheila's birthday last year or the year before. No, it was Dr. Sheila's birthday like a year or two ago. It was one pastor. She walked up to me and she grabbed my hands and she was like, you dance differently. She said, it's something different about you. She said, God's calling you to higher. And I'm like, okay, yes, ma'am. And I walked off. But then,
okay, Darren.
as I said, like, now it's why didn't you accept that? When she spoke it. When Darren was telling me to do this, why didn't she say that? When my pastor threw an idea out there and I'm sitting here like, I didn't say it to her, but in my mind, I was like, I don't think that's gonna happen. But it's all pertaining to this one area of my life. And in my mind, because I'm not classically trained, because I don't have this set of knowledge, I'm not good at it. In my mind, I've been telling myself I'm not creative at all. But then
you can come up with an entire routine.
But I think that happens with a lot of people.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
While you're there, it's just like, okay, I'm waiting for this. But then it's like, what are you doing while you're waiting?
Oh, Lisa always be like, worship while you wait.
Right. But in a sense, like, everyone, because a lot of people speak whether it is or not, like, into each other's lives. And then it's like, oh, yeah, you think so?
Yeah, we're not sure.
And then
ourselves.
we're just
we're not
like,
sure of ourselves.
I
think that all plays
that
into
is true. Like, we really do frame our world. So while we're waiting, in God's perfect timing, we've already blocked off what he can do in that way.
Absolutely.
Instead of, like you said, with the 8x5 picture, do you see the bigness of it? Like, we never step back to be like, oh, that. I missed all that blessing up there because I just blocked it, only this little bit. And if I would have just broke it. And sometimes we just have to be like, maybe so, like, be like a canvas. Like, canvases don't, in a sense, have a frame. They kind of continue to go and wrap around. So it's continuous rather than me blocking it off for, the aesthetic.
And even in that, best part, to apply it back to your word. Yeah, I did that. With Esther, what if when Mordecai told her to go, what if she said, I'm just a Hebrew?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
She did say that. She said, I can't go to the king.
No. In the very beginning.
Oh, before got bathed.
I'm saying when they were calling in the women, when Mordecai was telling her to go, what if she said, I can't go, I'm just a Hebrew?
Oh,
yeah, so in the beginning. So she went, but in a sense, it's like she was also being obedient. So it's like, that's why I feel, but I know, like, when Dr. Poole and Dr. Sheila tell us, like, you have to really be in your word.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
because if it is in his will and we ask, he already said it's ours.
Right.
So I'm just like, oh, man, I don't know a lot of my promises. Why? I'm not in the word. So then it's like, okay, so what do you do while you wait? Get in your word.
Get in that word.
If someone is speaking into your life, it's like, girl, I can't see that. Let me go see what the word says. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to believe and receive all that God has for me. So, yes.
Amen.
But that is God speaks. So I hopefully that has encouraged somebody, well, while you're in the waiting room of your life to go on to the next step, that know that we're all going through, but if you just stay in the word and know that what he promises for you, it is sure to come to pass, then you'll be much better for it. So hopefully that helps with the waiting room, like a waiting room magazine. Woo-hoo. All right.
And then let's do Aisha's next.
So on to Aisha's adventures.
Educates.
Cece is not here on the adventure, so Aisha educates. All right.
So as of the last time we talked, or last time I saw you all, we were talking about the strike, right? And so strike has, to my knowledge at this point, been called off because they did go through and they finalized everything. I'm getting my money. Right. And so and right now, everything is just going well. Everything within the district, everything in the district is getting better. It's not going well. It's getting better. And I think that now that the union and Superintendent Jara are coming together to try.
Covering your face.
I'm sorry. Superintendent Jara and the union are coming together to try to work these things out. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not going to always have what it is that we want, but I feel that they were able to come to a compromise before they had to take the sanctions that they were saying that they were going to take. And so I'm pretty glad about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And if
pretty
you guys don't know, she works for Clark County School District. For our other viewers outside of
for outside of
this
Vegas.
city.
I'm sorry. I'm a third grade teacher. I have 16, 17. I got a lot of babies under my wings. So it's okay. The dance team and my students and then the other class of students and then my SFA students. And it's just all my babies are coming together. So yeah. One thing I do say, I'm gonna educate all y'all right now. Read to your children. Read with your children. Please. I beg you. Please. But the reason being, don't just let them read to you. Read with them. Take that 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes. You have 5 to 10. Even if you don't have 10 minutes, give them 5 to sit down with them and look at the words. Because if your son or daughter is saying, this is that story, and it's supposed to say, this is the story, you're half listening. So you don't know how the story is supposed to go. And they're saying that this is the. And because they're saying that, that's what that's emblazoned in their mind. So they'll never correct it. So then when they go to read for their teacher is like, they're not getting this word, they're getting it wrong. And even if you just read, there's a poster that I show to my students at the beginning of every year. If you read with your student, at least, they say 20 minutes, I'm begging you, start off with 5, build it up to 20. If you read at least 20 minutes with your student every night, like just build that in as they're getting in the bed, you sit down with them, read a book, they will, by the end of their, I believe, 8th grade year, they will know at least 1 million words.
Wow.
Because they have seen them. And that's my thing. Like, you want to know how to get your kids, instead of having the teacher tell you what they need, you come in prepared. You and your student, take them to the library, let them pick out whatever book they want. Don't tell them, oh, you can't get a comic book, it's still reading. You can't get a magazine, it's still reading. And I do think as parents, you should monitor what they're reading, of course, because they may pick up something that you don't find appropriate within your own home. But if you sit down and just read with them, that's bonding time, and that 20 minutes will affect their reading fluency, their reading accuracy, and their ability as an orator. You want your children to be able to speak and speak clearly. Like one of the poets,
your vocabulary.
it does.
Right.
One of the poets said
read out loud.
they should be reading out loud to you. And if they get stuck on a word, you cannot sound out every word. Some words are sight words. Like the word the. You can't sound out the. So because there's some, or even if your kid is in 1st grade, take the first 100 sight words from Fry's, FRYE''S. First 100 words from Fry's. 2nd grade, first 200 words. 3rd grade, they should know pretty much all 1,000 of them, because their words, just have them study those. Put them up in their bathroom. Anything that you can do, they have rap videos for it. Start them with their multiplication facts, addition facts. YouTube has a lot of stuff.
And
So,
then in that sense, I'm like, mind you, I don't have kids.
None of us do.
But when I went to school, like, we used to read.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, reading helps the imagination, which helps, further, create people being creative. So that, and then also like with math, do they not do, what are those little time sheets, those 2-minute time sheets, and you have to get through everything? And I'm just like,
they do. It's just that it's not, you can do
or
that,
pop
but my
quizzes
question
with
is,
your words, spelling words, and all of that. I don't know. I feel like when we were kids, we were tested a lot.
I know they
Like, these are the 10 words of the week, but you better know them, because at any given moment, I'm going to give you a pop quiz. And it might be 5 throughout the week, but you just don't know, because 2 might be on one day, and on Friday you might not have nothing, but on Friday you will have some, the spelling test. But
the thing is, you never knew how to use those words in context. Just because you knew how to spell it didn't mean you knew how to read it. And as your teacher, and even with the 2 minute,
have reading comprehension.
I'm saying, but even with the 2-minute test, like, it's outside of testing. If you're teaching, if I give you these 10 words till you go home, learn them, come back, did I teach it to you, or did I just give it to you?
No, you usually with the 10 words, I know, like, those were the words of the week. So you have to use them in a sentence, because the spelling test was not just spell the word. Like
Mhm.
you spell the word and then you write a sentence using the word. So that's reading comprehension because I need to understand how to use the word.
Y'all
And so,
are better than me because I
I'm
remember
saying-
none of the only
I'm
thing
saying-
I remember from
you don't remember that from
elementary
school?
third grade. I remember ring my bell, and that's how we went through the little staircase of the multiplication, and you had to say it before the song was over and go through.
Oh,
I don't remember none of this other stuff.
I graduated in 2007.
Let's not do that.
So I was
But
just
but
like, I
what
remember,
they're
that's what I
saying
remember.
now is that if I give you 200 multiplication facts and you get through 30 in a minute, doesn't mean you don't know it.
You should know it.
Right, but doesn't mean you don't know it. I can give that paper, that 200 stack to a student and tell them you have 15 minutes, get it done, versus 2 minutes. That 15 minutes, they may work through all the problems and get all of them correctly just because it's not. That's the thing. They're saying rote memory, like you just being able to spit them, doesn't mean you know them. Like
But
a lot of us know what I'm saying.
Don't they know it?
I'm saying, but a lot of us know that 7 times 5 is 35. But do you understand that which one is the grouping and which one is the item?
But who does that?
That's what they're teaching them now. Like that's what I'm saying.
Oh
They'll
yeah,
say-
I forget. Nowadays, math is done completely different.
because they want them to understand what
Like
it truly
all the
means.
words.
What I'm saying, they want them to understand.
constants.
Because I'm just like, when you go to
Yeah.
algebra, they're not teaching you
They teach you
this is the
variable,
grouping and the
constant, the-
like x plus y equals 35. Like you got to
need
figure
to
out
know
what that
X
is.
a variable. The 35 is the. They make sure
Like
now
the-
that you know the
what it
particular
is.
words and what that word in that particular equation means.
Because we were taught math, but we were
Terrible.
taught. But no, it's
But
not.
I'm just saying,
I'm
in
saying,
real
but the
life,
reason-
would you need to know like,
No.
okay, if I get 5 items 7 times out of the week, that's 35 items. But am I okay? Wait, hold on. This is the grouping. I think this is the food grouping, and this is the constant. Like I don't think people like really use that.
None of
But
that
you
stuff
know
is
what? I
math you
can't-
need now,
That's not
but
true.
I
That's not
can't
true.
really say that
because
because
the basics.
I always
That's
like
true.
I went up to calculus, and yes, I don't do derivatives or integrals, and maybe somewhere along my life I might use it, but I don't.
But that's the thing. What they were saying is they want you not to, because even if I become an educational researcher, but I never took math seriously, I have to learn how to chart. I have to learn how to graph. I have to learn what these invisible numbers mean. I have to start understanding this stuff. So what happens when a student wants to become a scientist, but they don't like math and they don't want to do math because they don't understand math?
Oh no, you have to.
You,
Those two are
you
like
know,
neck and
you're,
neck.
yeah. If you wanted to be a scientist, you know when you start science, it is coupled with math.
Math,
Not
yeah.
always.
No, chemistry.
No,
is
I'm
math.
saying, no, I'm talking about elementary. I'm saying,
Physics.
but my question is, you
Math.
guys are talking about high school. I'm talking about elementary. If an elementary student says, I want to be a scientist, math and science aren't always correlated because in science, we're doing experiments.
Always.
Hold on. In science, we're doing experiments.
And-
we may start looking at those numbers, but if I don't understand basic multiplication, how am I going to understand algebraic thinking? And they're teaching them very strategically so that they completely understand those things so that when you do get to high school, when you do get to middle school, it'll be easier versus us struggling and having to take remedial math. They're trying to make sure that they teach you what you need to know now.
So they're
when
trying
you
to
get there,
teach
it'll
the
be prepared.
concepts,
Yes.
I believe it.
not.
But we said all that to say,
Okay.
Yeah.
read with your kids at least
Yes.
5 minutes. Even
At
though-
least start off with 5, build to 10, eventually get to 10.
And for any haters out there that think because she doesn't have kids, she doesn't have the right to suggest this to you, she has gone
She's
through
a
schooling.
teacher.
She's currently in school to get her master's. This is what she does. This is what she learns. So, boom.
And I'm sharing it with you all.
Okay, next.
All right.
And on to the...
Oh, it's me. Hi. Okay, they want to do these reviews. I'm not calling it Blue's Review anymore, so we're gonna
Why?
give the name. Cause I hate you.
Oh,
It's
fine.
not because
Blue's
of
reviews.
me.
Just leave it as
It's
it
me as a
is.
producer / editor. I'm thinking of other things outside of the scope.
Stuff ain't always equal like that, and just because it's not equal don't mean it's
It's
wrong.
not balanced,
And unbalanced weight is
It's not unbalanced though.
but it's not
Okay,
balanced.
so I haven't been to the movies yet. I'm waiting for Hustlers to come out because I love J-Lo and I'm really excited to see it. But I've been watching a lot of stuff on Netflix, and one of the movies I would say I want to review, even though I don't have like a full scope of how I feel about it, I want to talk about Moonlight. I don't know if you guys have watched it.
I watched it in theaters.
Really?
Yes.
And
So I was with the whole movie. I was like, it was my soul. What was his name at the end when he was grown?
Oh, I should have did that. I'm pulling it up.
Oh, I forget his name.
But
all I know is that he was fine to me.
Yes, he is fine. He was in Bird Box too.
I didn't watch that either, and I probably would have just for him.
Yeah.
And I follow him on Instagram.
Me too.
I'm following that. What's his name? I think it's like
It's T. Rose or something.
Trevor. No, it's not Trevor. What's his name?
It's something Rhodes. That's all I remember.
Yes, and so I literally that's all I seen. His
His name is Trevante Rose.
Trevante. Yes.
Boy is fine. But that's not the point. Let me read the synopsis of the movie for you so I don't mess it up.
Yeah.
So it's a young African-American man grapples with his identity and sexuality while experiencing the everyday struggles of childhood, adolescence, and burgeoning adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it went through the stages in his life.
Like
And
kid, then little, like, he was probably in high school.
yeah,
and
when
then adult.
the whole, like, because adolescents, those hormones are horrible. And they go through it. And I think that was when he first experienced.
When he was little?
Yeah,
his
with his friend.
first, when he was a little kid, they called him little. Because, he was small.
Little
and all that.
in stature.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, because he was wrestling with the guy.
At the beach.
No,
it was
he was
something
wrestling
else.
because everybody would bully him because he was so
Mm.
small. So his friend was like, well, why you always just be getting bullied and stuff? So he was like, let me teach you how to fight. And they ended up wrestling. And that's when he first got these little inklings. Okay, I'm wrestling with a boy and I kind of like it. Like,
Right. And then his adolescence.
And then
happened
he
at
went
the
to, his next name was, let me see. What was his next name? Because his name was, and then he went by his actual name, which is Sharon, when he was an adolescent.
Okay, yeah.
When he was in like high school, and that was a bad period for him though, because his mom was cracked out, and then he was getting bullied a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that he had ended up wrestling with ended up not so much being, he was like cool with him,
Mm-hmm.
but he ended up kissing him on the beach.
Yeah, that was.
They had like a little moment, but the dude was like a womanizer in itself, so he was hiding who he was. And Sharon he never really expressed himself, never with girls. You never seen him with girls or nothing like that. But he was always going through some different mental things. So when the boy that he ended up having that moment with on the beach and kissing or whatever, they ended up, his main bully ended up making his friend beat him up. And he lost it. He like came to the school, like hit him over the head with a chair, like his main bully though, not his friend that ended up having to fight him. But
and then he had to go away.
Yeah, they sent him to
juvenile.
juvie.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but once he came back from juvie, they showed him as a grown adult, and he went by Black. That's when Trevante Rose came in. But he
with the bottom grill and everything, I was like, oh my god, with the waves. That's sorry, y'all.
And then he got bumped though, like he got caught.
He was like, yeah.
So that was just a whole transition because like now he's a drug dealer now. The dude that he ended up getting mentored by even since he was little ended up getting shot or something. So he just took over his operation. And I didn't know, like, in the movie won an Academy Award. Like,
yeah, the movie was out for like a long time.
Right.
I seen it when it like came out in theaters.
Yeah.
And so that was probably like 2017
That it came out?
or 2016. I don't know.
It came out in it's not 2016, November 2016.
Yeah, 2016. Okay, so that's how I was like, because I wasn't at Destiny before, because I went to go see it with one of my other friends, and at first I didn't know how to feel about it.
I didn't want to see it because you have these people tell me, oh, it's about a gay boy. That's not even close to what the movie's about.
It was just finding himself.
Yeah,
but then
but there's literally that one scene when they kiss that.
At the end,
Well, they lay. Okay, so at the end though, the dude Black, he's now cocked now. He ends up meeting up with the friend. The friend's name was Kevin, that he ended up wrestling with when he was little, that he ended up kissing when he was Sharon, and now the dude comes back into his life as Black, and they link up. Because he's like, he ended up going through some things, having a baby, going to jail and some stuff like that. And he was a cook somewhere. And so I forgot how exactly they linked up. Like he found him somewhere.
or something. He had, I don't know.
I don't know if he had
he
his
just
number,
went
right?
or something. He just like,
They ended up getting back in touch.
Yeah.
And Black went out to wherever he was to see him. And the way the movie was, like, he cooked for him or whatever, and they just chilled. And it was just so, like, I don't know. Like,
at the end,
yeah,
it left
like,
me thinking that he
like-
was gay.
he is gay.
No, I'm about the other one.
Both of them.
Oh, well, yeah, Kevin, too. I think.
But I just think Kevin was manipulative out of the whole thing. Like, he only looked out for himself.
I think Kevin was only that way in the middle. Like when he was Sharon, what Kevin did to Sharon was disrespectful. Like when they were little, he was
just a
innocent.
friend,
Yeah, that was like what it was. But when they did what they did on the beach, and then for Kevin to beat him up over some little stupid game that they play in the hood, like that's mad disrespectful. And at this point, it's like I feel like it came full circle. Like, yeah, I did this, but I'm still thinking about you.
Mm.
That's gay. Like being in that moment, like for you to still
I'm
be
there.
thinking
Oh
about
my
this
God.
grown
Because
man.
he reached out to him, but Sharon or Black still to that day never kissed anybody else, never had any type of other relationship. He always was, from that point of him like being this drug dealer, he was always about the money. Drug dealers notorious for having girls or different things. He was this big pin. He could have had some little like boy on the side, doing what he wanted to do with him.
Okay.
But all I'm saying is, I didn't know how I felt about the movie.
Well, how do you feel about it now?
I still don't know, because it literally just ended with them laying in the bed.
Yeah,
listen to what you're saying.
that's why when I seen it, I was
Listen to
like,
what you're saying. This grown man cooked for this other grown man, and then at the end they were laying in the bed together.
I'm not saying, like, it's supposed to be, you're supposed to
And
assume.
blind.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I just, like, I don't like when movies just end. Like, I need an epilogue. Like, I need to know what happened next. Like, did they
so
end
you
up being
want
together?
sunlight?
So
So let me continue it.
I don't know. I think it deserved it, even though I haven't seen what's the other movie beat? The song movie. The movie it beat. Moonlight.
beat.
Like no, it was called with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Neverland or gosh. Whatever
She's
movie
the
that
movie
Moonlight.
She is the movie
She's the
connoisseur.
movie.
I didn't
'cause
watch
don't
it though. It was a
movies
musical.
like that.
The movie that Moonlight beat, because they said the wrong movie first, and then the dude who read it was like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." They pulled a Steve Harvey. Like, and it was actually Moonlight that won. But whatever that other movie is, I never seen it, so I can't compare. Like,
Well,
it should've
obviously
won
you're not going to see it because you don't even know what it's called.
Well, I can look it up. I just don't want to research it
No,
right
but
now.
wait. My question is, how walking away from that movie, how do you feel? Would you? In your review, would you watch it again? What would you give it on a scale of 10? And artistically, no, I'm saying. Other than that,
I like the production and the quality of how it was directed.
Okay.
I don't really care for the written ending,
I'm sorry.
but when it came to how they transitioned the movie, I thought that was very, very good.
Okay. I've never seen it, so I'm just sitting here bouncing between the two of them.
And I only watched it because it was free and it was on Netflix. So. And I really want to see it. Cause
No, I went with a friend and
would you watch it again?
just
No.
the end, and then I would skip a lot of parts of the movie.
It was, yes.
It was a bit much for me.
Really?
Yes, first off, I don't like intimate scenes, whether it's straight in
There's only
movies.
one.
I don't care.
She doesn't.
But it just, the underlying tone is this young man has went through this, and this is where it left him at. He never tried anything else, so he's there.
He's gay.
Yes! And so I was just like, okay, so we're going through like what kids experience as they go through like the stages of their life. Like, this happened. this is the result. That's what I was teaching the kids in children's church today. Cause and effect. If I do this, this happens. So yeah, but
Good job.
yeah, I just
See, it leaves you feeling like, I don't know.
no, I wouldn't watch it again. That
Would you watch it again?
I would just watch it
I
for
don't
him.
watch a lot of movies
but yeah.
again, though.
Oh,
But you said that you watched Lion King over and over again.
When
And
I
you
was
would
a
watch-
kid,
I'm saying, would you watch the new one again?
if it came out on Netflix.
That's what I'm saying. So you would watch it
She
again.
watched it.
But I'm saying, but if
But to be
because
honest,
Moonlight
if
is
I'm
on-
being totally honest with you right now, I would not purpose to watch the new Lion King again. Because I liked it. I seen it the first time. I liked it. I'm good.
I watched Black Panther in theater 5 times.
I watched it in theaters twice. And
I
I
watched
watched it on
And
Netflix.
I watched it again.
And I
How
watched
many
it on
times you watch
Netflix
it?
twice.
I watched it half a time.
Oh, you ain't.
You didn't even watch it?
I
She
watched it.
ain't all
Now my
good,
mom
right?
was watching it, and I watched it while she was watching.
You had to watch it for the culture, Aisha. What are you doing?
It's not even that violent.
But for the culture, that was black excellence.
Hold on. Before these two try to get in there,
If she loves all things black, not all things black,
right?
all right black. I don't know how to phrase that.
Anyway.
But she ain't do it for the culture.
I
Tear her up and
I
tear her up
will
in
watch.
the
I
comments.
will
Don't do that.
watch it.
That's not nice.
We can
But
watch it today.
That's thing, but I will watch it. But just understand,
a great
listen.
movie.
I don't do action movies under any circumstances. The
But she
reason
like
being,
MMA. It's
I
a
like
fitness
because
girl.
MMA is for sport. This I'm trying to kill you.
So
on
did you watch Hunger
purpose.
Games? It was for sport.
But they were trying to kill him for sport. He's
Yes.
just trying to beat him up.
It's the same thing.
No, there's a difference in trying to beat you up and trying to kill you.
Same difference.
No,
Because MMA looks, I don't want to see nobody get kicked in the face until blood
That
comes.
stuff is real.
then
You're not
The
disrespectful.
only way you can win is like
kicked in
to,
the face.
yes,
But-
and then
but I
their
trained
faces.
with
No, that's
I chose this. Hunger Games, the kids didn't choose to be a part of the game.
But they trained for
but
that.
they trained for
But I'm
it.
saying they trained, but they didn't choose. This person,
The
this,
poor
this
nations
fighter,
couldn't afford to train for it, but the richer nations, oh, them kids
It
was
is a
on
sport.
it. It was a sport. They knew,
Let
and
me
that's why
volunteer.
they volunteered
at the end of the
because
day,
they knew they was going.
I get what y'all are saying. I just don't watch action films.
We
It's just
always
my
end up
thing.
talking about other movies.
Anyway.
we review.
But as we go on to the
Topic of the day. And we're gonna, so I consume a lot of different podcasts.
yes,
And I believe one of the topics is relevant to us. And because it happens at our church too. And it was Justin Bieber. Aisha's gonna insert the thing wherever she inserts it on the screen. The
I'm going to do my best. I'm still learning.
no guarantees. But she's improving her editing skills, so we're gonna believe that she will go to YouTube and figure it out because she don't like learning from YouTube, but
I prefer to
We're
learn from
doing-
a professor.
better. We're doing better.
I am.
But Justin Bieber posted a video of somebody recorded him leading worship at his church or whatever. And my whole thing is, go ahead, Sylvie. say what
Oh,
you
sorry. The title is True Worship or No. That's the Let's Talk for today.
Oh, sorry. I'm learning.
We're doing
usually
better.
don't introduce stuff. So, is it true worship
Or
no?
Wait. That was really good. That was really good.
Oh my God! Why did I?
No, if you wouldn't have paused, I was.
I'm sorry. I laugh at things. I enjoy laughing.
So if ever you all notice, Darren is the one that gives the "that was really good" face. She's usually judging the podcast while the podcast is happening and then saying that was really good.
you gotta encourage people, okay?
You are
Let them know they're great.
You are encouraged.
But my standpoint about it, because I've gone to many a different. Some of them have been labeled concerts. Some of them have been just the worship of the church service was worship and somebody, famous or something came in. And, your inclination is to, I want to record them. But for me, I probably have maybe 2 or 3 videos of me actually recording. And it's only for a few seconds because I want to worship to this song. I want to enter in. I want to, receive whatever I can receive from this person, pouring out. So I've seen Ty Tribbett, I've seen Tasha Cobbs Leonard a couple times. We recently just seen Kira Sheard. We whom else? Alexis Spite and JJ Harrison. Who sings Deserve It?
Isn't that
And-
Travis?
No, You Deserve It. I thought that was JJ Harrison.
It is JJ Harrison. We've seen him, and I just cannot bring myself to want to sit on my phone and record this for what? I don't watch a lot of the videos I record when I'm at a concert.
Right.
So if I'm recording this, I'm missing the moment of entering in for a moment later that I'm not even likely gonna take. So I don't agree with it, like, at all. Like, I don't agree with it.
I'm with you because I noticed, like, even when we went to Millennium Tour, I only recorded it and be like, oh yes, this is where we are. But then I was like, oh, hurry up, let me go back so I can be jamming. And so when we did see Kira Sheard, yeah, when we seen her at the conference, oh girl, let me just worship. I don't see how anyone can just truly enter in. Like, even when you're recording our dance ministry.
So she is the official recorder of our dance ministry.
You can't
But
really.
you see her hold the camera, and if the camera slips, it's because she decided to look up over the camera.
Yes, because I'm like holding the camera and I'm like looking at them little on my screen, and I want to look up because I want to take in what they're giving me.
And I don't think you could truly, because we worship God in spirit and in truth.
Mhm.
And if my focus is off because I'm trying to record, but for the purpose of someone else to get it later who should have been there,
Right.
but I'm not gonna enter in. I'm videotaping so you can enter in, hopefully from your screen at home. But it's never as great as being there.
Right.
Never. Even just in the moments. Like, have you ever seen something like, as you remember when we went to Malaysia? My friend always wanted to go to like a really big, like, just fallout, like, worship fest. She did. And I was like, girl, we used to make fun of it because it's usually Christian artists, not gospel artists. And so we're growing.
We're doing better.
And so when we went to Malaysia, I was just pouring in tears because the revelation of people know God everywhere. It was a big mass. It was like a concert. And then it was just, we were free to worship in a predominantly, it was Muslim country. Like, they religiously got up we were there during Ramadan. They religiously got up at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Before the sun
music playing, people are worshiping.
You
when
heard
we
the
go
prayers,
places in the mall, there are prayer rooms. You're taking that time and going to pray. And it just got me like, we are here and God is still prominent no matter what. Jesus is still prominent. And so for me to record that moment, nobody's seen that moment because I couldn't.
To take yourself out. To take yourself out of worship.
I mean, but even in that, like, because while we were there, my uncle took us to his church. So my uncle, hey, shout out Uncle Ivory, hey. So he lives out there, and he wanted us to go with him to his church. So we went to the church, and they had it's like a convention center connected to a mall. And so we went in, we were sitting down, and they were just like, they were doing a giving for a foundation. So a part of their service was like our Super Sunday, but they were using that to fund projects to help like other,
in Africa
and other places that were, more impoverished. And while we were there, it's just I don't want to be performed at. I want to be led into worship. And a lot of times I'm noticing, instead of entering in, you're trying to hit the note. But for me, even if you hit the wrong note, I'm still going to be entering into worship. So I feel like a lot of it now is performance, not spirit led. Not to say everything is, but some things are. And I was explaining to my friends, I wanted to go to a place where, to an event or something where everybody is there with the mind of worship. Like, it's not that I'm sitting here trying to outperform you. I'm trying to out-hit these runs. I'm doing all this stuff and everybody, not just, because I feel like one of the things that our pastors say, worship is not a spectator sport. You are not supposed, like, worship is not meant for me to sit here, clap along a little bit while you about to blow your third vocal cord, trying to make sure I enter in. And I feel like a lot of times, even with my friends, and I love you all so much, when we sit together, it's great only because my friends, we all worship.
We match each other's energy.
And it's, as I'm worshiping, like, I'm more of a dancer in my seat, worship. Like, I it's just part of my thing. And as I'm dancing in my worship, there'll be moments where I'll open my eyes and out the corner of my eye, I'll see Darren, but Darren's not just standing there doing this. And it's like her worship, like my friend's worship, I feel like the energy, the spirit, it helps fuel me into the next, not even the next, I want to say the next dimension, but while we were there, I wanted to experience that. What I experienced with my two friends sitting next to me, I wanted to experience with a whole room. I wanted to experience what they saw in Acts during Pentecost. We're all here, because in my mind, like, just imagine the works of God, what miracles could happen, what things could be falling off, what bonds could be broken, what strongholds could be torn down, imaginations cast down, if all of us were on the same mind of worship at the same time. Yeah. And I wanted to experience that, because in my mind, the reason why it felt like fire for them, like tongues of fire, was because they were all there for the same purpose. And I'm just like, imagine us all worshiping, like everybody's truly purposing to enter into worship unto the Lord. And so when we got there, we're standing there in the service, and then I open my eyes, and you just see everybody just worshiping in the aisles at the front. The singers were just singing all together. And so he was like, God answered your prayer. And I was like, and
everybody's crying.
One of the few times, if you see me cry, usually it's because I'm in worship unto the Lord, or I'm crying out to him. And that was a time where it was just makeup, because I truly felt the spirit in that moment. And I feel like when it comes to, even if you go to a regular concert, I've heard artists say this all the time. When you're at like a secular artist, Christian artist, they want you to be in the moment, not recording the moment, because looking at them through the screen, you don't even feel the same vibe. It's like you're not even there. If you're going to watch them through a screen, why not just watch it on YouTube? Why do you need to pay $600 to $700 to go to this concert to sit here and look at your phone and record them? And granted, you may have this experience. I'm not gonna lie, if I spent how much some of these tickets cost, I'm record. I'm here, flip the camera, back in my pocket, and I'm about to be vibing and having fun. And so
that's what I did when I went to, what was that, Beyonce?
That's what I'm saying.
I got a snippet and I was like, the fire's going in my face. Let me get it all. Let me take it in all. Oh, she got to water. Like, let me take it in the whole effect.
The whole it's because everything. So, but I feel like a lot of times we don't experience life anymore. We record it.
Oh, yes.
So like, because like, even we were at one thing, while we're sitting there at a restaurant, I see people trying to capture their angles of their food. But your food is cold now. Like, right. And it's like, you're trying to capture this in-depth angle, and you're trying to show it to me. One thing, love y'all, pet peeve, I'm adding this one in. When you all post your Thanksgiving meal, we are all eating the same thing. I don't need to see your plate, her plate, her plate, her plate. Because then after a while, I'm not gonna lie, even another pet peeve, people constantly making the same song for Christmas music. Eventually, all I'm doing is judging your food. I'm judging. Well, her greens look better than her greens. And I don't need that on my Thanksgiving day. Even with Christmas songs. I'll hear Mariah Carey, and then I'll hear somebody else. And then I'm like, but they ain't hit the run. They see Mariah didn't do that, and then so-and-so didn't do that. That's where it becomes for me. So I just feel like in that moment, I understand posting a picture, but when you show me all the courses of your meal, if you review food, great. But sometimes it's just, just live in the moment. Just be in the moment. Get off your phone. Just experience life. Like, a lot of times, even with us as friends, we used to do this. Put everybody stack their phones in the middle of the table, and we'll sit here and experience each other. I feel like
we do not do that anymore. I got a picture. I'm gonna give it to her, and then she could post it, because I caught it on my birthday trip when we went to Disneyland. Looking in the line while we're waiting to get on Indiana Jones.
I remember.
Everyone except for me and Simone, of course. Whoop, whoop. We were not on our phones, but caught everybody on their phone. Yes, everyone, even Aisha.
But wait, the reason I was on my phone is because I was creating the montage for brown skin girls. Go watch the video.
That was the first
I was taking pictures of everybody and everything. I was trying to catch some stuff because remember I was recording you and Tifa while y'all was creeping. I was gonna try to put that to
Yeah,
power.
no, this was in the beginning.
Yeah. In the beginning, I was recording the whole weekend, taking pictures. I had Rachel with the
It should get a pass, but I caught all of them, and it was hilarious to my soul because I was like, "We're at Disneyland, the happiest place supposed to be, the happiest place on earth," and everybody's on their phone, and I was like, "Okay."
It's like the time that we're in now. We're in a time where we can record things,
and so you post it.
But I don't think everybody should be posting everything. Some stuff you record should be for you.
But I mean, if we're going to Disneyland, I should snap a few pictures, no problem. Post them, no problem. But when my whole weekend, like I know I take a lot of pictures, but I'm still in the moment. It'll be snap, 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 turn, snap, boom, phone's in my pocket. Snap, 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 phone's in my pocket. And even with us experiencing things as friends, I feel like a lot of times we'll grab our phone, and the first thing, that was one of the reasons why I usually take a hiatus from Facebook or Instagram. When I notice, as soon as I grab my phone and open it, my thumb automatically goes to Instagram, even though that's not even what I was thinking to get on.
Woo! You can't take no hiatus.
I need a hiatus because I do that. I'd be like, oh, I need to check my bank account on my Facebook.
Right.
And then it's bad because not only I just scroll on Facebook, but one of the things, my Facebook leads me to what I really want to do, which is shopping. And so the ads will come up and I'm like, oh, that's cute. And then I start going the other way. And I was like, girl, first off, we were supposed to be checking our bank account for something because you probably had to pay a bill. Or I was probably in the midst of, the Lord told me, oh, you should probably text this person. And I went on Facebook and then I went to shopping. And I was just like, what the heck?
And I think it's because my purpose, one of the things I'm going to purpose, y'all hold me accountable, accountability partners. I want to start living in the moment more. But no, in that, I want to start being more in the moment, living the moment, because I'll never get it back. Like I can go, my Facebook feed, I can keep scrolling, and by the end of my night, I can go through and see all the things that were posted that day. But if I sit there and do that for 15, 20 minutes each time in each pocket of my day, that moment that I was supposed to be living in, I can't get it back.
Right.
And you can't get it back in worship at all.
Oh,
because there's no way that when somebody is singing a song, it's going to have the same feel, not even feel, but the same bleeding of the spirit that it has in that particular moment.
Because even
I know what you're about to say.
We did the dance over again in Victorville. It was that spirit, the Holy Spirit that enveloped us on that night. Like, it's the same spirit, but it was a new sonship. It was a new song. That experience was new for that moment of people.
Yes.
And so when sorry, that was Miss Lisa.
Mom, say hi to the people.
Hello.
Mom, really?
She's way loud.
It's okay. But when we were ministering for our anniversary,
thanks, Lisa.
That spirit, and then we went to Victorville. It was totally different experience, even for us as we're ministering, pouring out to the Lord in dance. Like, it was totally different. And so you will not ever recapture that. And so as we're wrapping up, we're just true worship or not. To me, if you're recording, you are not truly in worship. If you have something else if you think something different, please leave a comment below.
Oh, tell us.
And let us know.
Subscribe, rate, comment.
Or Instagram too. We will be on there. Or
yes, just let us know, because we want you to be more so interactive in the potty.
Yes.
Kev and Doughboy, we're still in that. This is the potty.
It's not stealing. It's public domain.
It is. But I mean, at the end of the day, with that, I feel like you cannot recapture those moments. And that's the thing. Dr. Poole says it all the time. He said it today. Who's to say the spirit is going to move the same again?
In that moment,
the spirit is not obligated to move for you now the way he moved for you then. And if you're a part of a part of the health, within my health class, our teacher taught us, your brain, if at working at 100% capacity, should be focused on one thing. But a lot of us try to multitask. When you multitask, you split your brain's capacity. So if I'm working at 100%, I know we only work at 10% of our brain's capacity, but if 100% of that 10% is focused on worship, I'm giving God my all. But if as soon as I split that to recording and listening, that's now 50% there, 50% here. But if I'm 50% there, 50% here, and 25% looking at my kid who is sitting right here next to me during this worship concert, that's 3 different places and my brain is trying to be at the same time. So can you worship him in spirit and in truth if you're truly not paying attention?
Nope.
So I say, nah.
So
Nah.
that is the end of
She's gonna let you close
our
it up.
You don't have to.
podcast. And we're signing off. This is We're Saved 2. I'll at you next time.
We're saved too. We're saved too.